Hello, my name is Glenn Dyer, and you are watching a Dyer-Situation. Today I'm seeing Valerian in the City of 1,000 Planets. Okay. Seems like a weird movie to come out, honestly. Like, honestly, it just seems like this is some sort of big, spectacular sci-fi nonsense craziness. Is this the sci-fi response to Gods of Egypt? What is this? It's confusing me. From a little bit of IMDb research, I think I'm starting to understand maybe how it got greenlit. It's by the writer and director of Lucy, and The Fifth Element, all the way back in the 90s. Both very goofy movies, although Lucy a lot more goofy. Which honestly gives hope to this movie. It won't be like Tomorrowland. It'll have a soul, a very stupid soul, but it'll be there. Yeah, so I think I can vaguely understand why somebody would pour money into it, but, This looks really stupid. I mean, I guess I should say there's like two levels, there's like two extremes for sci-fi. There's the extremely technical sci-fi ones that you never see anymore, like Star Trek the Motion Picture, or 2001: A Space Odyssey, or the Andromeda Strain, you know, movies that are very slow, very procedural. They're about science, they're about technology and how it interacts with it. Nobody likes those anymore. They're too boring. Then there's the other extreme. There's your Star Wars, where it's in the future. There's a lot of technology, but most of that doesn't matter, really, because it's more about, like, adventure and space fighting and cool stuff like that. Which is okay. That's a fine thing for a movie. So, the strange thing about this, it's based on, like, a comic book, I think, is that, from the look of it, from the action sprawl and stuff, you think it's going down here. But with the title, with the very intense title, I should say, Valerian, the City of 1,000 Planets, that sounds like a lot of technical detail here and makes it sound like it's going up here. The thing is, when you get into the middle area, you get really terrible stuff. Also, I never normally bring up the cast because they don't normally have that much to do with it. I mean, they do to an extent. They can influence how a character behaves and stuff, and definitely casting helps with certain movies, like Tom Cruise was a pretty bad choice in The Mummy, for instance, but casting here just might make it, just might tip it off the so bad it's good level there. I forget their names, but I call them the Sunken Eye Twins. Two completely unrelated people. They're not like brother and sister or anything, but they're very young people. I think one of them played the Green Goblin and the Amazing Spider-Man 2. The other one was Margot Ruff Beagleman in Paper Towns. But they're two people, unrelated people I should say, who both have deep, sunken-in eyes, who always look like they're on the verge of suicide, no matter what they're doing, and who act in a pretty straight, flat manner, which worked for those two movies. Well, it didn't work for Amazing Spider-Man 2. Nothing worked for Amazing Spider-Man 2, but Paper Towns, it worked for that. It's a very straight movie. But for this, the very fact that they're hiring two people known for their very straight performances for a goofy sci-fi action-adventure film, that is going to be amazing. I'm actually looking forward to this. I think I am going to laugh a lot. So let's see it. Wow. That was amazing. You know, in the first part, forget everything I said in the first part. Okay. When I said, "Oh yeah, this looks like it might be leaning towards the middle," I was thinking, "Oh great, this is going to be like Dune or something. This is just going to be like complete out of nowhere nonsense, and it's not going to mean anything." It is, but yeah, it's far more in the direction of Star Wars than I was thinking. This movie's fucking insane. I love it. The very first clue I got that this movie was going to be delightful, in just the way that I like it, was in the very first scene. They're showing, like, I guess it has to be the ISS, and it's like docking with a Chinese vessel and stuff. And then it shows like progressing through time, like through the decades, through the centuries. It amasses more and more people, and it eventually amasses like aliens and stuff. And the starship grows, and the satellite grows bigger and bigger and stuff. You know, it's crazy stuff. I love that. But the thing that really got me is that at one point, like very early on, like the third or fourth ship to dock, was this Middle Eastern vessel of some sort, and the people come out and they're wearing spacesuits and space turbans. You heard me. Space turbans. They were wearing turbans that were made of like a polysynthetic material like their spacesuits. But they were turbans. What? Is that necessary? I mean, yeah, I think turbans are a part of their culture, but, do they have to be made of spacesuit material? Do they go out into space? Do they spacewalk with the space turbans? That's how I knew that this movie had my sense of humor. I don't know if that was an intentional joke. They don't draw attention to it that much. It's just if you're looking, but like, damn it, that kind of design, that's the kind of thing that makes me laugh and lets me know this is gonna be fun. No matter what, this is gonna be really fun. And it was. I mean, like, the Sunken Eye twins, I was kind of worried that, like, they were just gonna be, like, totally deadpan the whole time. No, instead they were playing people who, quite honestly, should be older. Like, honestly, they're playing, like, Chris Pratt types, like, adventuring rogue people, and made me wonder the whole time, why are they so fucking young? Like, they look like they're barely 20. Why are they doing all this, like, hardcore spy infiltration stuff? Because that's the basic plot, like VALERIAN, and it's like a corporal or a sergeant in the space army, or no, or like the space CIA, and he's like investigating this mystery. That's the whole movie is like this mystery kind of crime thing. Yeah. And I was like, why is he so young? They never explained why they're that young, but it's just crazy. Yeah, the whole movie's like that. Honestly, if I didn't already know, even if I didn't already know that this was made by the guy who directed The Fifth Element, I would say this was probably inspired by The Fifth Element, because just that level of, like, wacky, over-the-top craziness that happens in there. Honestly, the director here is much more suited to crazy sci-fi adventure than he is to crazy sci-fi Scarlett Johansson takes mind-bending drugs and becomes God. I'm not even sure what genre that is, but yeah, it's better suited to this than that, to the point. It's so fun. It's so fun. If I could compare it to any movie besides like The Sixth Sense, in terms of like look, it's very much like The Fifth Element, but in terms of like how it handles itself, what it reminds me of, honestly, is Bahubali. Mostly just because A lot of crazy stuff happens in it, a lot of like side plots, a lot of like weird set pieces and stuff. It's like Bahubali though, in the sense that sometimes you don't quite know what the hell's going on, but who fucking cares? It's awesome. It's not entirely like Bahubali in that sense though, because Bahubali does get crazy. It does do weird things that don't make quite that much sense, but at the very end, there was always that one goal that they were working towards that was very crystal clear. You knew that once that goal was accomplished, the movie was over, because good had triumphed over evil, or whatever. And that, of course, was like, Bahubali's gotta kill his evil uncle and take back the kingdom, you know. Simple. Simple thing. In this movie, the ending is kind of where it starts to fall apart. That's where it drags, and that's where its weirdness starts to work to its disadvantage, just because it is a mystery of sorts, and they're kind of building up to some kind of resolution here. And yeah, the resolution they come up with is kind of clunky and not very satisfactory for what was built up. Just because they continue to just be super weird. They needed it to be like a really simple end goal, at the very least, just to handle all the craziness. I mean, I appreciate the ingenuity and the creative ideas to try something like that, but nonetheless, it distracts from the movie overall. Plus, several parts of that ending scene don't make any sense. For instance, the stupidest fucking line in the whole movie, and there's a lot of stupid lines in the movie is very silly, was when Valerian is like debating this moral choice that has to be made, right? And he says, "I'm a soldier. I follow all the rules." That was his reasoning for his decision. And at that moment, I put my hands on the side of my head and I said, "What?" I said it exactly at that volume too, like in the theater. I'm not very loud in theaters, but I'm just like, "What?" Plays by the rules. The motherfucker, like he like runs through like marketplaces and like knocks over stalls. He shoots unarmed people when when they get in his way or they like slightly inconvenience him. He like busts into this one palace at some point and slaughters an emperor and stuff. Just like, Jesus Christ! If you're the dude who plays by the rules, I'd hate to see loose cannon McCready of this universe. Jesus Christ! That was so fucking stupid. If anything, he was honestly portrayed as somebody who does not play by the rules. He's a crazy guy. That's the whole point. It's so stupid. Who the fuck wrote that line? Plays by the rules. Jesus Christ. Yeah, but the movie's like 2 hours, 20 minutes. You don't really feel it just because it's so crazy, except towards the end when it starts to drag. And honestly, the ending section is the only part that I didn't really like, and probably the only part that kept me from just being super ecstatic about this film, like 100%. Other than that, this was extremely enjoyable, unironically. This not enjoyable in a so bad it's good way, enjoyable in a so fun and imaginative that it's good way. Which is something I like to see, honestly. I want to see more of this. I don't know if I want to see a sequel to this necessarily, but I want to see more films like this. This was not a Gods of Egypt. This was not like just like weird imagery across stilted actors who have no idea what the fuck they're saying. This was a very deliberate and fun action-adventure sci-fi romp. So, I highly recommend it. I do. That's the bottom line.
I very much recommend this film, and I suggest you watch it if anything I said has sounds in any way fun to you. Yeah, just watch it. It's fun. It's fun. It's really fun. So until next time, I'm Glenn Dyer, and you have been watching A Dire Situation.